May 23rd. Thought I'd do a quick walk through the garden. Got a lot of rain the last few days. I have got the hot peppers put out here. Still working on cleaning the front corners. I've done a little. Radishes and cucumbers are up. Okra has been planted. It won't be up for probably 3 or 4 more days. There are a few mushmellons coming up. Tomato plants are growing fairly well. As I said, we got quite a bit of water. Majority of my walkways are set up so that the tomatoes are, well, all plants are well above the water line. Jugs have all been removed from my tomato plants. Be removing them from the garden soon. Underneath one jug, a cutworm had eaten my tomato plant pretty much completely up. There's a few branches coming back. I was going to change it. I believe I'll just leave the tomato to recover. I had 2 cutworms about midnight that night. After finding I had one, I came out and removed the cutworms from the plants. Found 2. They come out at nighttime and eat and try to take their food back down a hole where they can eat during the daytime if they can. Pole beans coming up. These are yard-long beans. Trying something new this year. See how those do. Checking on watermelon. I do not see any watermelon up. I do see some squash up. That would be spaghetti squash. Turmeric. Gooseberries looking pretty good. Tasting good too. Pepper plant from last year. Sweet corn has come up, or coming up. A few of the early peas are blooming. Pineapple. Strawberry. This patch is more turmeric. I see one or two barely coming up. Bush beans. Sweet peppers. The various kinds and colors. Watermelons over there, a few beginning to come up. Eggplants. The flea beetles have been gnawing on them. I can see one or two there. Very difficult to keep them off. Potatoes look quite nice. Some flowers planted for transplanting. Beets come up fairly thick. I'll have to thin several of those. Cucumbers over there. I'll see how they do on this wooden trellis this year. Cabbage plants doing fairly well. And these are more pepper plants. Entire bunch of potatoes is all volunteer. If the pepper plants do not do too well, I'll have to remove the potato plants and just let the peppers go. A few more volunteer potatoes. Onions. I'm gonna have to do some weeding and mulching. Some more cabbage as well as peppers. Some more tomato plants. Blood vein sorrel. Some volunteer lettuce. Volunteer black raspberry. I have not gotten moved. I may wait and harvest this one and then move it. It's near the edge of the bed. Might just remove it and do away with it due to its size. Wild strawberries are producing nicely. Other strawberries are doing fairly well. Some more tomato plants growing amongst the onions. Soon be harvesting these bulbs for green onions. Strawberry patch, not looking too good, but a little better. More potatoes. They're beginning to bloom. Seems a little early, but not sure. More cabbage. Broccoli and cauliflower and everything is on the other side. These are pole beans. I'll be vining up this fence. Regular pole beans. The carrots are producing true leaves, first ones. These 3 beds on the end will be more carrots, planted just a little later. And cages are there for the cherry tomatoes. They're growing seemingly slow so far, but expecting some 80-degree weather. They should start jumping up in height quite soon. This is some ginger. Little sunburn on the leaves from transplanted from indoors to outdoors. And that's a quick walk through my garden. Still have not set up the water irrigation system since it wants to rain several times a week. This won't be needed for a while. I will get it set up sometime. But as you can see, the ground is solid on my walkway, main walkway. Side walkways all lowered for drainage and works quite nice. We had just enough rain last night to even flood highways over, and there's only a few lesser puddles in my garden. We'll be needing to clean out my main drainage ditch that travels out through and around the peach orchard and back to the creek to do away with the last standing water in the lowest spots. Project for later in the summer, most likely.